Hello everyone, and welcome back. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt small? Have you ever felt like you are not strong enough, not smart enough, or just not important? If you have, this story is for you. Today, we are going to talk about a man who started his life as a tiny, weak baby. No one believed he would survive. He was lonely, he was bullied, and he was often alone. But this man grew up to change the world. He helped us understand why things fall, why the moon stays in the sky, and how light works. This is the story of Isaac Newton. Before we jump into the story, let's take a moment to learn some important words. These words will help you understand the story better, comprehend the deeper meaning, and of course, enrich your English vocabulary. I will explain each word in a very simple way, so don't worry. Listen carefully, and then you will hear these words inside the story naturally. Let's begin. 1. Survive. To continue to live, especially after a dangerous situation. When you don't die, you survive. He was so weak that the family thought he would not live. But he did survive. 2. Left behind. To go away from someone and not take them with you. When someone abandons you and moves on without you. She left little Isaac behind. 3. Supposed to. Expected to do something. What other people want you to do. What is your duty or your job? When he was supposed to watch the sheep. 4. Hungry for knowledge. Having a very strong desire to learn. You want to learn so much, it feels like hunger for food. He was hungry for knowledge. 5. Devour. Eating something quickly and eagerly, like eating food very fast. When you are so excited to read, you eat the words. He devoured books like a hungry man eats food. 6. Plague. A very serious disease that spreads quickly and kills many people. A terrible sickness that affects a whole city or country. A horrible plague hit London. 7. Isolation. The state of being completely alone. When you are far away from other people. This isolation became a miracle. 8. Gravity. The force that pulls objects toward each other, especially toward the center of the earth. What makes things fall down? He called this force gravity. 9. Revolutionary. Completely new and changing the way people think. A big idea that destroys old thinking. This was a revolutionary idea. 10. Calculus. A type of advanced mathematics for calculating things that change. A special math tool Newton invented. A whole new type of mathematics called calculus. 11. Blunt. Not sharp. Flat or rounded at the end. A blunt object cannot cut. It is dull. A long, blunt needle. 12. Humble. Not proud. Not thinking you are better than others. Someone who is great but doesn't show off. He remained humble. 13. Fragile. Easily broken or hurt. Very weak and delicate. Something you must handle with care. A small, fragile baby. 14. Miracle. An amazing and very lucky event that seems impossible. Something wonderful that you cannot explain. This isolation became a miracle. 15. Countryside. Land outside towns and cities, with fields, farms, and nature. A quiet place far from the noise of the city. He was alone in the quiet countryside. 16. Discovery. The act of finding or learning something for the first time. When you find something that nobody knew before. This simple question led to a huge discovery. 17. Hunger for truth. A very strong desire to know what is real and true. Not hunger for food, but hunger for understanding. His hunger for truth was stronger than his fear. 18. Universe. Everything that exists, including all stars, planets, and space. The whole of space and everything in it. How everything in the universe moves. 19. Ocean of truth. A huge amount of knowledge that is still waiting to be discovered. Not a real ocean, but a metaphor for all the things we still don't know. The great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me. Okay. That's all about the vocabularies. Now it's time for learning about Sir Isaac Newton. Let's start at the very beginning. Isaac Newton was born on a cold winter morning, on Christmas Day in 1642, in a small village in England. He was born too early, so he was very, very small. People said he could fit into a small pot. He was so weak that the family thought he would not live. But he did live. He did survive. However, his hard life was just starting. His father died 3 months before Isaac was born. So, little Isaac came into the world without a father. Then, when Isaac was just 3 years old, something very painful happened. His mother remarried a new man. She decided to move away with her new husband, and she left little Isaac behind. She left him in the care of his old grandmother. Imagine how that must have felt. A small boy, only 3 years old, watching his mother walk away. He didn't understand why she was leaving him. This feeling of being left behind never really left him. It was a deep hurt inside his heart. Because of this, Isaac didn't spend much time playing with other kids. He stayed quiet. He built walls around his heart, and he spent his time alone, just thinking and watching the world. Now, Isaac did not do very well in school at first. He was an average student. He was not the smartest boy in the class. Other boys were bigger and stronger. They bullied him. They pushed him and laughed at him. Isaac felt angry and helpless. But one day, something inside him changed. The school bully kicked him hard. And Isaac decided to fight back, not with his fists, but with his brain. He thought, I will show them. I will become the best student in the school. And you know what? He did exactly that. He pushed himself harder than ever before. His pain and his anger became his fuel. But his challenges were not over. His mother wanted him to stop studying. She pulled him out of school and told him to work on the family farm. She wanted him to be a simple farmer. But Isaac hated farming. His mind was always somewhere else. When he was supposed to watch the sheep, he was reading a book. When he was supposed to work in the field, he was building small wooden machines. He was a terrible farmer because his brain was made for bigger things. Luckily, a kind uncle saw the spark in Isaac's eyes. He convinced Isaac's mother to send the boy to university. So, Isaac went to Cambridge University. And that changed everything. At Cambridge, Isaac finally found his place. He studied math, physics, and astronomy. He was hungry for knowledge. He devoured books like a hungry man eats food. But then, something terrible and wonderful happened. In 1665, a horrible plague hit London. Thousands of people died. The university closed down, and Isaac had to go back to his family farm. For most people, this was a time of fear and darkness. But for Isaac, this isolation became a miracle. He was just 23 years old. He was alone in the quiet countryside, with nothing but his thoughts and the nature around him. One day, he was sitting in the garden when he saw an ordinary apple fall from a tree. Now, you and I see an apple fall and we might think, oh, an apple. But Isaac saw this and asked a very special question. He asked, why does the apple always fall straight down? Why does it not go sideways? Why does it not go up? This simple question led to a huge discovery. He realized there must be a force pulling the apple down. He called this force gravity. But his thinking did not stop there. He had an even bigger thought. What if this same force, this same gravity, also pulls on the moon? What if the force that makes the apple fall is the same force that keeps the moon floating around the earth? This was a revolutionary idea. Before Newton, people thought the rules on earth and the rules in the sky were completely different. Newton connected them. He showed the universe works by the same laws everywhere. During those 2 years of isolation, he did more than just think about gravity. He also discovered the secrets of light and color. He discovered that white light is actually made of all the colors of the rainbow. And, because he needed new math to explain how things move, he invented a whole new type of mathematics called calculus. After the plague ended, Newton went back to Cambridge. He became a professor. But he was a very shy man and not a great speaker. Sometimes, he gave lectures to empty rooms. Not a single student came to listen. But he didn't care. His joy was not in speaking. His joy was in discovering. He did some very strange and dangerous experiments. Once, to understand how the eye sees light, he stuck a long, blunt needle behind his own eye to see what would happen. It was painful and risky, but his hunger for truth was stronger than his fear. He built the world's first reflecting telescope, using mirrors instead of just lenses. This telescope was much better than the old ones. It could see far into the night sky. When the great scientists of the Royal Society saw his telescope, they were amazed. This success gave him the confidence to share his greatest work. He wrote a book called the Principia Mathematica. It is one of the most important science books ever written. In it, he gave the world his 3 laws of motion. These laws explain how everything in the universe moves. He gave us a universe that works like a beautiful giant clock, a clock we could finally understand. So, why is Isaac Newton's life a blessing for us today? Why should you care about a man who lived over 300 years ago? Because you live inside his mind, every single day. The car you ride in, the bridge you walk on, the plane that flies across the ocean, the phone in your hand. Every engineer who builds these things uses Newton's laws. When scientists send a rocket to Mars, they do not guess. They use Newton's math to draw the perfect path. His discoveries are the invisible foundation under our entire modern world. He gave us the keys to the universe. And yet, after all of this, he remained humble. He once said, "I do not know what I may appear to the world, but to myself, I seem to have been only like a boy playing on the seashore, and finding a smoother pebble or a prettier shell than ordinary, while the great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me." He knew that no matter how much we learn, there is always so much more to discover. So, what can we learn from the tiny, fragile boy who was left behind? Here are 3 simple lessons. First, Your starting point does not decide your destination. He started life weak, poor, and alone. He ended up as one of the greatest scientists in history. Second, turn your pain into fuel. That lonely, bullied boy took his anger and used it to become the best. Don't waste your struggles. Use them as energy. And finally, always stay curious. The magic is not in the apple that falls. The magic is in the question you ask. The next time you see something ordinary, stop and ask why. That simple question can start a journey that changes everything. That's all for today. Subscribe the channel to have more lesson like the today's one. See you in the next lesson.